There's a level of discipline that doesn't just impress people, it unsettles them. You've probably seen it once or twice. Someone who never misses. Not for a week, not for a month, for years. They wake up at the same time every single day. They do the same routine, the same order, whether they feel like it or not. Sick, busy, traveling, it doesn't matter. And when people talk about them, they whisper things like, "That's not normal. That can't be healthy. How does anyone live like that?" Here's the part nobody tells you. There is a system, an old one, born in Japanese Zen monasteries, that was designed to create precisely this kind of terrifying consistency. A system that, once it's installed in your life, makes discipline feel less like a choice and more like gravity. The monks call it GYG, practice that continues by itself. Today, you're going to see how it works. You're going to see how one ordinary man used it to become someone people called scary, consistent, and by the end, you'll have to decide something uncomfortable. Are you willing to become the kind of person that normal people call assessed? Chapter 1, The Awakening. Before he scared anyone, Raphael was painfully ordinary. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't even unsuccessful. He was a programmer, good at his job, earning decent money, respected at work. From the outside, everything looked fine. But on the inside, his life was built on broken promises. Every January looked the same. New gym membership, new notebook, new apps, new, "This time I'm serious." And every time, the pattern repeated with machine-like predictability. Monday, "This is the new me." Wednesday, "Do I really have to go today?" Friday, "Okay, I'll reset on Monday." Sunday night, "Next week, I'm actually going to do it." The habit changed. The script didn't. Gym? He'd go for 6 weeks, then vanish. Meditation? 7 days, maybe 10, then silence. Reading? He'd buy a book, read 3 pages, then bury it in a drawer. If discipline were a muscle, he felt permanently injured. He tried everything the internet told him to try. Habit tracking apps, reward systems, accountability partners, morning routine videos, motivation hacks. It all worked for about as long as his previous attempts. Then one day, almost by accident, he came across a story about Zen monks who maintain a single practice every day of their lives. Not a 30-day challenge, not a 90-day sprint. Every single day. There was a line that hit him like a brick. Practice continues not because we are strong, but because the practice has swallowed us whole. Raphael didn't understand it fully, but he felt something. Why can some people maintain a habit for decades, while others like him collapse after 2 weeks? He thought his problem was motivation, or laziness, or not being a morning person. What he was actually fighting was far more fundamental, the way his brain categorized commitment, and that realization was about to change everything. Chapter 2, The Secret of the Monks in One Monastery. A bell has rung at the same time every day for centuries. Not close to the same time, not around, at the same time. When the bell rings, the monks rise. It has been this way for generations. An O monk lies in bed debating, should I get up today or not? Maybe I'll meditate later. I'm tired. I'll skip once. That question simply doesn't exist in their mental universe. Why? Because in their world, practice is not a decision. It's an identity, hidden inside. This is the first rule of the system you're about to install. Your brain puts every commitment into one of 2 boxes. Reversible or irreversible. Reversible commitment sounds like, I'll try to meditate this month. I'll see if I can stick with the gym. I'll do my best to read more. An irreversible commitment sounds like, this is who I am now. Reversible commitments create daily negotiations. Irreversible commitments create automatic behavior. When a monk shaves his head, puts on robes, and takes vows in front of the entire community, he isn't saying, I'll try to meditate. He is publicly declaring, I am someone who meditates every day. It's not a promise. It's a change in identity witnessed by others. Modern neuroscience, especially studies on social status and behavior, has been circling this for years. When you make a behavior public, your brain doesn't treat failure as, oh well, I'll try again later. It treats it as a threat to survival. For most of human history, being exposed as unreliable in front of your tribe didn't just feel bad, it could get you pushed to the edge of the group, or out entirely. Losing status used to be dangerous. Your nervous system still behaves as if it is. Raphael didn't know the details of the research. He just knew one thing. His private promises were worthless. So he did something different. He took a blank piece of paper and wrote, "I am a person who meditates for 20 minutes every day at 5 o'clock a.m. for 90 consecutive days." He didn't write, "I want to." He wrote, "I am." He signed it. Then he did the part that made him want to throw up. He made it public. He told his friends. He told his girlfriend. He posted it where people who actually knew him could see it. The reactions came quickly. "You're being too dramatic. Dude, it's just meditation. You don't need to announce it to the world." Perfect. Every raised eyebrow, every sarcastic comment, every joke at his expense became a fuel source. Because now, failure wouldn't just mean, "I broke a streak." Failure would mean, "I stood in front of everyone I know and proved that I am exactly who I've always feared I was." Someone who doesn't follow through. The third morning, the test arrived. The alarm went off at 5 o'clock a.m. His body was heavy. His mind launched its usual script. "You're exhausted. This isn't healthy. One day won't matter." The difference this time wasn't the thoughts. It was the cost of obeying them. The idea of having to look his girlfriend in the eyes and say, "Yeah, I quit after 3 days," felt worse than the pain of getting out of bed. Public declaration had turned giving up into a kind of small social death. But as you'll see, even that wasn't enough. He had ended the private negotiation, but he was still at war with something more profound. Chapter 3. The internal war. When people talk about discipline, they act like it's a moral quality. Either you're strong enough to just do it, or you're weak. Reality is messier. Even with his public declaration in place, Raphael's biology still didn't care about his reputation. His nervous system did what human jumpy systems do. When he was tired, he wanted to sleep. When he was comfortable, he wanted to stay relaxed. When he was stressed, he wanted relief, not discomfort. The public commitment had silenced one kind of negotiation. Will I do this at all? But another one remained. When am I going to do this? Every morning a new debate started. Should I meditate now or after breakfast? Maybe I'll do it at night. I focus better at night. Today's busy. Maybe I'll do double tomorrow. On the surface, these thoughts sound innocent, reasonable, even. Underneath, they were corrosive. There's a concept in cognitive science called decision fatigue. The more decisions you make, especially under stress or uncertainty, the more your brain leans toward the easiest available option, usually whatever feels good right now. Every time Raphael asked, "When should I meditate?" he was burning scarce mental fuel. The fuel that should have been used to sit down and do the thing was instead used to argue about when to do it. This is where he stumbled onto the monks' second principle: non-negotiable hours. In monasteries, practice doesn't happen when someone feels ready. It happens when the bell rings. Time is not a variable. Time is a command. Raphael decided to borrow this. Not with some perfect, sophisticated schedule. Just one simple rule. Every day, I meditate at 5 o'clock a.m. not around 5:00, not sometime in the morning. 5 o'clock a.m. is the bell. He didn't choose that hour because he was a natural morning person. He chose it because at 5 o'clock a.m., nothing else was happening. No emails, no messages, no meetings, no social obligations. The time was not about optimization. It was about elimination, eliminating reasons to delay. The first week was brutal. His body protested every single morning. He felt heavy, groggy, irritated. His mind kept suggesting reasonable alternatives. Do it later. You'll be more alert. Sleep is more important than willpower. You're being extreme. But he had already made the decision. The clock was the bell. The bell meant to sit. Something strange happened in the second week. A few mornings, he woke up a minute or two before the alarm. His body, confused but obedient, started preparing in advance. On one morning, he found himself sitting upright on the edge of the bed. before his conscious mind had fully understood what he was doing. And a long debate. Just movement. This is what most people never understand about morning routines. It's not about having the perfect morning. It's about removing time as something you negotiate with. But just when Raphael thought he'd cracked the code, his brain found a new loophole. He had fixed the time. But what was still up for debate? Chapter 4. The one way. At first, Raphael was proud. He was up at 5 o'clock a.m. almost every day. He was doing something productive with that hour. Some mornings, he meditated. Other mornings, he read. Sometimes he did push-ups or stretching instead. From the outside, this looked great, varied, balanced, healthy. Inside his head, a new negotiation had been born. It sounded like this. You're too tired to meditate today. Just read. That still counts. You're stressed. Skip the push-ups. Just sit quietly. You don't have time for the whole thing. Just do the easy part. Each choice looked like a victory. It was, in reality, a subtle retreat. Here's the hard truth. Every option you allow yourself becomes a doorway back to the person you used to be. Variety is fun, but variety is also where consistency goes to die. Every time you decide which workout, which book, how long will you meditate, you force your brain to make micro decisions. And in those micro decisions, your old patterns sneak back in. The monks had a solution for this too. A solution that feels, at first, almost inhuman. One form, same action, same sequence, same order, every single day. Raphael decided to test it. He wrote out a tiny ritual for his 5 o'clock a.m. practice. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading. Something that stretched his mind. Same exercises, same order, same length, every single day. No, how many should I do today? No, maybe I'll skip the push-ups and just read. And, oh, I've swapped meditation for journaling. This was his personal Ango, a period of intense, structured practice inspired by the long training periods in Zen monasteries. His friends thought he was going too far. You're turning yourself into a robot. Don't you get bored doing the same thing? You need variety or you'll burn out. They didn't realize that boredom was part of the medicine. The first 2 weeks of the fixed sequence were uncomfortable. By the 3rd week, they were ugly. His mind rebelled in a new way. This is pointless. You're not a monk. Why are you doing this? Just change it up. You'll stick with it longer. He was discovering the invisible barrier that stops most people. Once the novelty wears off, you start to see your real relationship for what it is. Committed. But beneath the complaining, something else was happening, something that researchers studying habits have been documenting for years. When you repeat a specific sequence of actions in the same context over and over again, your brain starts to move those actions out of the active decision part of your mind and into more automatic circuits. One long-term researcher in this area, studying habit formation over months, found that after enough repetition in a stable context, behavior stops feeling like a choice and becomes a default. Raphael could feel this slowly happening. One morning around week 6, he found himself halfway through his push-ups before he realized he had started. He hadn't argued. He hadn't pumped himself up. His body just moved. This is the real goal of discipline. To spend your whole life wrestling with yourself, but to repeat the sequence so often that willpower stops being necessary. But the most challenging part of the journey was still ahead, because almost everyone can be consistent on good days. The real test comes when life stops cooperating. Chapter 5 Practice without gaps. If you look back at Raphael's life before this transformation, you can boil all his failures down to one mistake. He believed the lie of all or nothing. You've probably heard it in your own head. If I can't do the full workout, what's the point? If I don't have time for 20 minutes, I'll restart tomorrow. If I'm not going to do it perfectly, I'd rather not do it at all. This logic feels noble, perfectionist, serious. In reality, it's an elegant trap, because here's what it really does. It makes your practice dependent on perfect conditions. It turns minor disruptions into total resets. It creates gaps, and gaps are dangerous. There's an image that teachers in some traditions use. A River is a river because it keeps flowing. During a drought, maybe it's only a shallow trickle, perhaps it's slow, but as long as the water moves, the river remains alive. The moment it stops, even once, it is no longer a river, it's just a dry path where water used to be. Your practice is the same. You don't lose it when it becomes small, you lose it when it stops. On day 35 of his new system, Raphael got sick. On day 40, he had to travel for work. Early airport, long flights, different time zones, meetings stacked. In his old life, these would have been perfect excuses. I'm sick. I'll pick it up when I'm better. Travel is crazy. I'll restart when I get home. This week doesn't count. He remembered every other time he had told himself that. Those restarts never really came back the same way. This time, he decided on a different rule. The form may shrink, but it never disappears. At the airport, with fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, he ducked into a quiet stall in the bathroom and did his 20 push-ups on the cold floor. Was it comfortable? Not even remotely. Did people look at him like he had lost his mind? Absolutely. Good. On the plane, he closed his eyes for 10 minutes and focused on his breath. Was it a perfect meditation? No, turbulence shook his seat. Announcements interrupted his focus. It didn't matter. He read a few pages from the book he had stuffed into his bag. Not a whole chapter, just enough to keep the sequence alive. The practice had been dented, shrunk, and squeezed, but it had not stopped, and that was the point. He was starting to understand a lesson that sits at the heart of GYG. Practice doesn't require perfection. It requires continuity. Elite athletes know this intuitively. They have rest days, but those rest days are part of the training plan. They're not, I didn't feel like it. They're, this lighter day lets me push harder tomorrow. That is still forward motion. When you skip because you're tired or busy, that's not rest. That's retreat. The thin line between I adjusted and I quit is whether the river kept flowing. But there was one more problem waiting, a quieter one, but just as deadly. The chaos of real life doesn't just bring illness and travel, it brings randomness, unexpected problems, last-minute changes, crises you never thought to plan for, and most people lose their consistency right there, in the unexpected. Chapter 6, Pre-Solution. See, your child wakes up sick. Your car refuses to start. A project explodes at work, and your boss needs you online right now. These are the days habits die. Not because you're lazy, but because you're forced to make decisions under stress. Here's what tends to happen. You promise yourself you'll fit it in later, then later arrives, and you're drained. You negotiate, you reason, you postpone, and without realizing it, you've allowed emergencies to dictate your identity. The monasteries that inspired Raphael's journey have weathered earthquakes, wars, political upheavals, and famines. And somehow, the core practices continued. How? Not by having superhuman monks, but by refusing to improvise their response in the moment. They do something powerful and simple. They decide in advance how they will respond when things go wrong. The meditation hall floods. They move to another room. If that burns, they sit outside. If the usual bell can't be used, another sound becomes the bell. There's no emergency meeting. No, so what should we do today? No, well, I guess we'll skip this one time. This is where Raphael realized his system still had a weak point. He had rules for regular days. He had the shrink but don't stop fallback. But he didn't have clear rules for the specific situations that usually broke his consistency. So he did something that looks simple, but is rare. He sat down with a pen and made a list of every obstacle that had ever derailed him. What if it rains and I can't leave the house? What if guests are sleeping over? What if I had a terrible night of sleep? What if I'm hungover? Which he was trying to avoid, but he knew himself well enough to plan for failure too. What if I have to get up early to drive someone somewhere? What if I'm in a different time zone? For each obstacle, he wrote a pre-solution. If X happens, I will do Y. If it's raining and he can't go outside, push-ups and meditation in the garage. If guests are sleeping nearby, silent push-ups and seated breathing in the bathroom with the door closed. Suppose he is truly wrecked from lack of sleep or a bad decision? 2 push-ups, 1 minute of meditation, 1 page of reading. That's it. The river shrinks, but it flows. If he has to leave earlier than normal, set the alarm 10 minutes earlier and run the compressed version. He didn't trust his stressed, tired future self to make these decisions. He trusted his calm, focused present self to make those decisions now. On paper, behavioral researchers who study decision-making under pressure have shown again and again, when you decide your action before the emotion hits, you remove half the battle. You are no longer asking, "What should I do?" You're simply following the previously agreed upon instructions. Raphael felt the difference immediately. The next time his schedule got smashed by unexpected events, he didn't have to invent a solution. He just executed. Guests at home? Bathroom ritual. Travel chaos? Airport push-ups and plane meditation. Exhausted from a long night? Micro version, not full version. Something deep inside his nervous system relaxed, because now, the question, "Will I practice tomorrow?" is gone. And even, "How will I practice tomorrow?" was mainly answered. Only one question remained. Will I obey my own instructions? And each time he did, his self-image shifted another inch. By day 70, something eerie had happened. He would sometimes wake up, do the push-ups, meditate, read, and only fully wake up, mentally halfway through, realizing his body had already started the sequence. The practice wasn't something he did. It was something happening through him. People close to him began to notice. Co-workers told him he seemed different. You're weirdly consistent. It's like nothing knocks you off anymore. You're kind of obsessive about this, aren't you? One person said quietly, honestly, it's a little scary. He smiled, because by then he understood. That kind of scary is a signal that you've crossed a line most people are afraid to approach. Chapter 7, The Transformation. On day 90, Raphael finished his personal Ango. 90 days. No gaps. No. I'll restart when things calm down. The push-ups, the meditation, the reading, they had done something more profound than build muscles or attention span. They had replaced one identity with another. He wasn't someone trying to build a habit anymore. He was someone for whom not practicing felt wrong. Friends joked about his cult of 5 o'clock a.m. Some told him he needed more balance. A few said, resentfully, normal people don't live like that. He realized something important in that sentence. Normal people don't get the results he was starting to see. Normal people live in cycles of short bursts of motivation, negotiation and excuses, gaps and resets, quiet disappointment. They're not bad people. They're not weak. They're just trapped in a system where every commitment is reversible, every schedule flexible, every identity negotiable. Raphael had stepped into something else, a system where his identity was publicly declared. His time was fixed. His actions followed a single automatic sequence. His practice never entirely stopped. His obstacles had pre-solutions. This is GYG in modern language. Practice that continues by itself because you've removed every place your old self used to slip back in, and now, the question slides away from Raphael and lands directly in your lap. Because this isn't really about monks, or temples, or one disciplined programmer. It's about you right now. Your brain is drawing a quiet line. On one side is the person you have always been, the one who starts strong and fades, the one who negotiates with the alarm clock, the one who treats commitments as experiments. On the other side is a person who will feel strange to you at first, someone whose word to themselves is non-reversible, someone for whom practice happens at a fixed time, like the ringing of a bell, someone who would rather do a tiny, ugly version of their practice than skip entirely, someone who knows in advance what they will do. When life gets messy, that person is not more motivated. They are built differently, and the building process looks like this. Declare, don't try, in clear language, who you are and what you do. Not I want, not I'll try. I am someone who does X at Y time, a day for Z days. Choose a non-negotiable hour, your version of the bell, a time with as few distractions and excuses as possible. Time is not a discussion topic. It's a trigger. Design one unchanging form. A small sequence you can repeat every day without deciding its components. Same actions, same order, same length. Let it become choreography for your nervous system. Shrink, don't skip. On hard days, reduce the size. Ruthlessly, make it tiny if you must. But don't open the gap. Pre-solve your ambushes. List the things that usually break you and choose your responses now, not when you're drowning in them. These are not hacks. They're not quick fixes. They are the tools you use to do something that sounds dramatic, but is actually reasonably practical. You allow one version of yourself to die, so another one can take its place. The inconsistent one, the negotiator, the I'll start again Monday self, loses power decision by decision. The unbreakable one gains it at some point. The people around you will start to notice. They will say you're extreme. They will say your discipline is scary. They will say, that's not normal. And on that day, you'll know something most people never learn. They're right. It isn't normal. It's intentional. The only question now is this. What will your public declaration be? What practice will you choose to carry into your life until it becomes part of who you are? Not a habit you're experimenting with, a story you're rewriting, because the consistency that makes other people uncomfortable, the kind that looks a little frightening from the outside, it is the only consistency that truly rewires who you are on the inside.